السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الأسبوع اللي كان بيتم فيه افتتاح قناة السويس والعالم كله أنظاره تتجه إلى مصر، على عكس ما كان البعض يقول. قناة السويس الجديدة تم افتتاحها والعالم كتب عنها سلبا وإيجابا. في المجمل كان الإيجاب أكثر، ولكن السلب طبعا قمنا بالرد عليه في حلقتنا الماضية. ولكن ونحن ننظر إلى هذا الأسبوع كأسبوع مهم في قضية تطوير البشر، كما نقوم بعملية التطوير التي تحدث في البنية الأساسية المصرية، تحدث على أرض الواقع في الكثير من المجالات. تطوير البشر يأتي بداية من عند التعليم. عندما نتحدث عن التعليم نتحدث عن التعليم المدرسي، ونتحدث عن التعليم الجامعي، ونتحدث عن تعليم ما بعد الجامعي. كانت هناك زيارة خلال الأسبوع الماضي من بريطانيا تتحدث عن تعاون في مجال التعليم بين مصر وبريطانيا. الأبواب تفتح مرة أخرى أمام مصر من خلال هذه الزيارة وغيرها في هذا المجال اللي كلنا مهتمين بيه وعارفين إن ده مهم جدا بالنسبة لمصر في الفترة الحالية والفترة اللي جاية. بيسعدني إن أنا أستضيف السيدة كلير ديركن، رئيس التعاون الدولي في وزارة التعليم والعلوم والمهارات البريطانية. You're most welcome. والسيد دانيال شاه، مدير منظمة الجامعات البريطانية للسياسات. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
First of all, let me understand what is the interest that Britain has in terms of international cooperation with Egypt these days?
Well, I represent the UK government, who is committed to working with Egypt in deepening and strengthening our relationship in education, at higher education level, at doctorate level, at research, science, innovation, because we think we share a similar passion to ensure that we develop the next generation in terms of our excellence, in terms of our ambition to achieve a scientific and a technical and a research base that will actually benefit both countries and ultimately globally.
Is that part of a scholarship that's being offered to postgraduate students, or how does it work?
It's part of many things. We are looking to explore how we deepen that relationship. For instance, we have established between the two governments a fund that is called the Newton Musharrafa Fund. Newton because Isaac Newton was our great scientist, Musharrafa because he was one of your great scientists. It is a fund that is of mutual benefit, and it is mutual money, and it is there to provide support and stimulus for research institutional links, for student institutional links, for a number of ways. But we're looking at other things too. We are looking at how we might discuss together governance of higher education, how we might discuss standards of higher education, how we might strengthen systems so that our education institutions learn how to collaborate with business. There are many different ways in which I think we can share knowledge, understanding, sometimes scholarships, sometimes benefits, but actually mutual learning does an awful lot.
Right. Mr. Shah, you're not part of the government, right? And you represent the British universities, and you are handling policies of that. What part are you playing during this visit here to Egypt?
Similarly, we're here to explore the ways that UK universities and Egyptian universities can collaborate for mutual benefit. We know that internationalisation is very important for our universities, because internationalisation is at the heart of excellence, and we have a world-class university system that we're very proud of. But one of the reasons that it is world-class is because it is so internationally open, and we'd like it to become more so. So we welcome many international students. We would very warmly welcome more international students and collaborators from Egypt, but we also enjoy a great degree of talent circulation, of staff who collaborate overseas and return home. I know that both Claire and I have studied overseas, and we also collaborate on the international research outputs. Almost half of the research that our universities produce is with a partner who's overseas. And all of these things are important for the quality and the efficiency of our research base. So internationally mobile students are more employable and tend to have better academic outcomes. Internationally mobile staff who return home are more productive, and internationally collaborative research tends to be a higher quality, and it also enables teams of talent and resources to be assembled at an international or a global scale to address challenges like clean water or cheap energy that are bigger than any one country can address on its own. So we think that internationalization is at the heart of the quality and the efficiency of our universities, but we also recognize that that's important and that that's an aspiration for Egypt's universities, and we'd like to learn how the two can work better together.
There's been a cry out loud in Egypt about the quality of our universities, that it has gone down from where it was to where it is right now. Is there a gap, major, big gap between Egyptian and British universities that makes it a bit difficult for you to be handling such cooperation?
You know, first of all, I don't know a country that doesn't worry about the standards of its higher education, so that's good. But secondly, I am absolutely clear that there are pockets of excellence in all of our institutions in the UK, and there are pockets of excellence, and sometimes deep pockets of excellence, in all of your institutions. I am delighted to say that this week we are able to go into some of your actual real live universities. I know some of the students who are not, it's not term time, but they are coming in to talk to us. And I know...
You're meaning some of the current students, not graduates.
No, current students. And so I do know that at no time ever is there a time when you do not have that excellence in your universities. Of course, with extremely large institutions, and of course with huge expansion, you're going to have swings in terms of how you maintain those standards. And that's a huge challenge for you. And that's what we want to discuss with you, how we might be able to work together to help with that challenge. But I know that we can do collaboration, excellence with excellence.
I love the term pockets of excellence, because that means that there are few areas where excellence is. And of course, what we're seeking, especially with a major population in countries like ours, we're looking for the pockets to be only for the non-excellence, and the excellence would be the predominant thing, but that's probably very difficult to achieve. Has anybody achieved it?
I know about is perfect. And I think it's inherent in the nature of a university that is always seeking to share knowledge through educating its students, to create new knowledge through its research, and to benefit society through its interaction with the community or with business, through driving growth, through solving environmental challenges. So those are things that are always going to be dynamic. One thing I do know about our own university system in the UK is that one of our strengths is its diversity. We have around about 160 universities, but they range from large institutions that teach and research a whole range of subjects to small specialist institutions dedicated to doing the best that they possibly can in the history of art or in curing cancer. And what that does mean is that we've got, as a system, a university that will be the best partner or the best place to study for any individual Egyptian researcher or student.
You wanted to say?
I did. I want to say that I don't believe we ever, anywhere in the world, achieve what we want to achieve in education, because every time we reach a goal, we will want to heighten that goal. And there will always be international competition, and there ought to be competition in country. So of course, no country is satisfied with what has been achieved, nor of course will Egypt be satisfied. But that sense of a progress can be both pushed in terms of demanding higher standards, but it can also be pulled by universities collaborating with business, universities collaborating with industries worldwide, but also universities to university. And it's that challenge of actually taking pride in working with and meeting the best that I think actually pulls up standards quickly and considerably.
Part of your department is related to skills.
Yes.
And when we're talking skills, I think there is a major project that's taking part in the UK right now in order to improve skills of students, and if I can call them handicrafts, or if I can call them actual hands-on experiences, right. Which is something definitely Egypt needs at this point in time, especially with the past 5 years, with all the problems and what we are aspiring for. Right. Are you discussing this with anybody?
So we certainly are, and I smile when I hear the challenges in Egypt because they sound so familiar to me. Mm-hmm. We have the same heritage of being excellent with our history and our literature and our civilization, and actually not paying as much attention as we ought to have been paying to our basic skills and our crafts. We used to, and we seem to have lost the habit, and we are now rediscovering the glories of our engineering that were so brilliant in the 19th century, and we are now trying to recreate them in the 21st century. So I'm very proud of the fact that the government is putting much more effort into apprenticeships, into people in higher education actually mixing and matching their studies with going out and doing the business. And it's that mix and match and enrichment of the higher education with the practical hands-on that I think would be incredibly interesting to explore with your institutions and your education, so that you have your students going out into industry and coming back into academic study and not feeling as if one is superior to the other, because it's not true. Feeling as if you work together and you actually produce, so that actually you are not only far more employable, but you can solve the problems of the future.
Indeed. I was just talking a week ago, there was a big meeting. They wanted to do a dedicated Egyptian channel, television channel for education, and then there were some students who were talking, and I was telling them about apprenticeship, and I said apprenticeship is the way I learned being in the media, the way many of the people who did well, they worked, it worked through apprenticeship, whether it was part of a system that existed a long time ago or the remnants of that. How do you see it?
I think that the skills that are needed to thrive in the kind of workspace that our young people are going to need to address, not just in 5 years' time, but in 50 years' time. Because the young people that we're educating now are still going to be working, I suspect, when they're 68 or 70, are needed not just for vocational skills, not just for apprentices, but all the way through the entire spectrum. So I think it's about academics having investment in leadership, in management.
Absolutely.
There is no more vocational degree than medicine, because that prepares you for a career that usually lasts for your whole life. And I think this involves PhD students learning how to communicate their findings to people in other disciplines. I think this involves academics learning how to demonstrate the benefits that their research brings to the funders, to the public. But I also think it involves undergraduates spending a year in industry, perhaps, as part of their degree, perhaps doing that overseas, helping out in another country. But it also involves universities doing something that I know many of our universities do very well, which is working with employers to design the curriculum that delivers what employers need. So I know that they look very closely, and we publish the data on the employment rates of our undergraduates 6 months and 3.5 years after they graduate, and that's all publicly available. But I also know, I visited a university just last week who co-designed a course specifically with a big UK supermarket to give degree-level education to their managers, and they could deliver that by distance in the workplace, solving real problems. And they could do that for other employers, and other universities could offer that in other ways.
You visited some of the universities here as well.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
You've been to Ain Shams, I believe?
We are going to see them this week.
Ain Shams, Alexandria, and so on.
Yes.
So you're basically meeting with people from government universities, or these are, some of them are government and some are private?
We want to cover the spectrum. As far as we are concerned, what Egypt has in its system is interesting and challenging, whatever its structure. And it's important that we engage throughout the structures. But yes, we are certainly talking to government, and in many ways it is a government-to-government level agreement that makes it easier for institutions beneath that agreement to get on and do the business.
And have you been doing that? Have you been running around different countries of the world to see means of cooperation?
Our universities themselves have, I believe, students from every single country in the world. They have almost 24% of academic staff have come from another country and are passing through the UK. So they're continually engaged all around the world in different ways with different countries and with different sectors. So much of this comes from the bottom up. It comes from the students, it comes from the people, it comes from the academics. What we're interested in is how we can help universities achieve their objectives. So some of what we do is just to provide them with information, accurate information and advice about what opportunities do exist here in Egypt, and that's part of what we're here to explore. We also arrange opportunities for the universities themselves to get to meet with each other, and they're the ones who work out how they can best collaborate.
But sir, let me be clear, we are not going around the world looking at institutions.
It's not an international, so when you say international, like...
We are not on an international trip. We are on a deep, serious discussion with Egypt. We are talking to the Supreme Council of Universities in detail. There is only one Newton Musharraf Fund.
The Newton Musharraf Fund has existed for several years right now.
It has been running for 1 year. We are now in the second year. It is a 5-year program.
Okay, but it only started a year ago.
It only started a year ago.
So we heard about some of the people, like some of the people in the media and others who have been part of programs. This at least was published in the media. Is this part of the same program or different program that they studied in the UK?
There have been a number of programs. There are scholarships, there are achieving scholarships, there are incentives. We have been open to international collaboration for a long time. We developed this program in particular to ensure that we could look at the top end of our achievements in Egypt as well as ourselves, and look at science, look at postgraduate work, as well as higher education generally. So it was a particular fund. But yes, a lot of collaboration has gone on in the past. I am very pleased to say that, for instance, our best physician in liver is in my local hospital in London, is Egyptian and has been born, bred and educated in Egypt. We have benefited enormously from this collaboration for many years. So I don't want to imply that it's new. I just want to say that we are serious about forging new and interesting and deeper links.
But very interesting to know that something has been in the cooking and running efficiently that was started a year ago, especially that Egypt and Britain were not seeing eye to eye when it comes to politics. So politics was on the one side and that was a completely different track, or would the politics coming back to track, would that help that field to run better?
I love my responsibilities in government because politics and international tension can last for 5 years, can last for 20 years. Education links and understanding, when you have mutual work, mutual scientific recognition, can last for centuries. It is long-term and it is serious and it has mutual respect.
I'm wishing you luck, and definitely before we air that we will get the conclusion from you, at least over the phone, by email, about the conclusion of the visit and your impressions to go side by side with this recording. But I'm thanking you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. يبقى احنا بنتكلم على فتح ابواب جديده مع دول متقدمه تعليميا على الاقل مننا. سعيد ان كان في مشكلات سياسيه بين بريطانيا ومصر، ورغم كده مش سعيد بالمشكلات، لكن سعيد ان رغم هذه المشكلات ان كان هذا المسار ماشي بشكله الطبيعي. لو احنا بنقول ان المسار طبيعي وبيتحسن، احنا عايزين نشتغل على طلابنا ونشتغل على اننا ما ننعزلش عن العالم، ونقدم لهم ويقدموا لنا افضل تجاربنا وافضل تجاربهم، عشان خاطر زي ما بنقول ان قناة السويس هدية مصر للعالم، بنقول احنا جزء من الإنسانية، لازم نشارك في الجهد اللي بيبنيه الإنسان للمستقبل. ألقاكم في الحلقة القادمة وتصبحوا على خير.